Look around you. You are no longer a boy with someday in his pocket. You are not an old man with the luxury of saying, "It is too late." You are in the strongest decades of your life, and if you waste them, you will never recover them. This is not a speech for dreamers. It is a summons for those in their 30s and 40s who feel the weight of responsibility pressing upon them, who feel time demanding proof. If you drift now, the world will pass you. Younger men will overtake you. Older men will tower above you. But if you act with definiteness, these years will crown you with power. You may be telling yourself you are thinking it over. You may be waiting for conditions to improve, for a clearer signal, for someone to open a door for you. But listen carefully. Hesitation at 35 becomes regret at 45. Delay at 40 becomes chains at 50. You cannot afford to postpone any longer. These years are decisive. They will either forge a master of destiny or bury you in mediocrity. Do not deceive yourself. The competition in these decades is brutal. Men your age are building empires, multiplying wealth, securing legacies. They are not drifting. They are moving with speed, clarity, and force. And if you hesitate, you will watch them from the sidelines, envying what could have been yours. But hear this, the advantage is still yours. In your 30s and 40s, you possess the double edge of strength and experience. You are old enough to know, young enough to act, seasoned enough to avoid folly, vigorous enough to endure trials. No other decades offer you this union of wisdom and power. If you will not seize it now, when will you? The enemies of these years are the same enemies that destroy every ambition: fear, indecision, procrastination, and regret. But in midlife, they whisper louder than ever. Fear of poverty grips you because responsibilities are heavy. Fear of criticism silences you because you have tasted ridicule. Fear of old age creeps in because you feel time slipping. These whispers will paralyze you unless you rise and declare, "I will not drift. I will not waste my strongest years." History proves the law. Carnegie was not a titan at 20. He became master in midlife. Rockefeller was not king of oil in his youth. He consolidated power in these very decades. Lincoln was not president at 30. He was ridiculed, defeated, obscure. But in his 40s, he rose to the highest station, prepared by years of persistence. They crushed their competition not by wishing, but by seizing midlife as the proving ground. So I speak to you directly. This is your battlefield. Do not flatter yourself with the thought that you have more time. Time is moving swiftly, and it does not pause for your excuses. 10 years will vanish whether you act or drift. The only question is whether you will spend them rising or rotting. Say these words with me now. I will not drift in my 30s. I will not waste my 40s. I will not let fear, indecision, procrastination, or regret steal my strongest years. I demand greatness of life. I will crush my competition not with luck, but with definiteness, desire, and action. This is your hour. This is your summons. These decades will not wait. If you act with definiteness, faith, and persistence, they will crown you with empire. If you drift, they will bury you in mediocrity. The choice is before you now. Choose boldly. Choose swiftly. For this is the law. In your 30s and 40s, you either rise as master or fall as servant. The decades of your 30s and 40s are decisive. They are the test of destiny. In youth, you may excuse drifting as inexperience. In old age, you may claim decline. But in these years, excuses are stripped away. You are strong enough to work, seasoned enough to know, and responsible enough to act. These decades forge either a master of fate or a servant of circumstance. Most men waste these years. They dwell upon the past, regretting lost chances, or they tremble before the future, fearing that it is too late. They become prisoners of hesitation. They overthink. They procrastinate. They drift. And while they drift, bolder men advance. The world crowns the decisive and tramples the timid. These years are not given for waiting. They are given for building. Fear is the first enemy of these decades. Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of failure, fear of old age. These fears whisper louder in the 30s and 40s than at any other time. For you have seen enough of life to know hardship, and you have tasted enough responsibility to dread loss. If you permit fear to rule, it will paralyze your efforts, and your best years will rot in waste. Indecision is the second enemy. The man who delays until next year discovers that decades vanish like days. The world does not pause for him. Opportunities do not wait. Each indecision costs him wealth, position, and growth. He tells himself he is being cautious, but caution is often cowardice in disguise. He calls himself thoughtful, but thought without action is drifting. Procrastination is the third enemy. The man who says, "I will begin tomorrow," seldom begins at all. Tomorrow becomes next month, next year, and then a lifetime lost. Every wasted day is a brick stolen from the structure of success. The man who waits for the perfect time discovers that the perfect time never arrives. Only those who begin now will ever arrive at mastery. The tendency to look backward is the fourth enemy. Many men in their 30s and 40s waste their strength regretting the past. They say, "If only I had started earlier, if only I had chosen differently." Such regret is poison. No man can alter yesterday. The only proper use of memory is to learn. To dwell upon what is gone is to rob today of its power. These enemies, fear, indecision, procrastination, and regret, are the silent destroyers of midlife. They whisper until the years vanish. They make strong men weak and keep ambitious men poor. They are the tools of drifting. If you allow them to rule, your 30s and 40s will pass with nothing to show but wasted energy. But if you conquer them, these decades will become your golden years. History proves this truth. Abraham Lincoln spent his early years in obscurity. By his 30s, he had failed in business, lost elections, and faced despair, but he refused to drift. He used those years to shape his convictions, to steel his faith, to prepare his character. By his 40s, he stood ready to lead, and destiny called him to preserve a nation. His greatness was forged in those decades. Andrew Carnegie, born in poverty, used his 30s and 40s to master the steel industry. He was not yet a titan in his 20s. It was in midlife that his vision expanded, his alliances formed, and his fortune multiplied. Those years made him one of the richest men in history. He crushed his competition not with chance, but with definiteness, persistence, and organized power in his 30s and 40s. These examples reveal the truth. The 30s and 40s are not years of decline. They are years of decision. They are the proving ground where your past prepares you and your future demands of you. If you waste them in drifting, your destiny will be lost. If you seize them with definiteness, faith, and action, your destiny will be fulfilled. The choice is yours. I tell you plainly, these decades will not wait. They will not return. They are the river that carries you to greatness or to ruin. The man who refuses to act will discover that younger men overtake him and older men surpass him. The man who acts with courage will find that all the experience of his youth and the vigor of his strength unite to bring him victory. Say this with me now. I will not drift in my 30s. I will not waste my 40s. I will not surrender to fear, indecision, procrastination, or regret. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. These decades are my proving ground, and I will rise as master, not fall as servant. I demand of life greatness in my strongest years. This demand must not remain words. It must become burning desire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Without desire, you will drift in midlife as surely as you drifted in youth. With desire, you will find the fire to persist, to act, to conquer. In the next stage, I shall show you how desire, when burning and definite, becomes the master key to all achievement in your 30s and 40s. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Without desire, nothing begins. Without desire, no plan is conceived, no persistence is sustained, no victory is won. In youth, desire may be a spark, but in the 30s and 40s, desire must be a blazing fire, for these are the years in which drifting becomes deadly. Only a burning desire can carry you through. I tell you plainly, weak desires produce weak results. If your wish for success is casual, you will drift into mediocrity. But if your desire is definite, if it becomes an obsession, then no obstacle can stop you. The difference between those who triumph in midlife and those who collapse under its burdens is this: the victors demanded of life success with burning desire. Edwin C. Barnes is a clear example. He was a poor man with nothing but ambition, yet he carried a definite desire. He would become the business associate of Thomas Edison. He did not say he wished for employment. He declared that he would go into business with Edison. That desire drove him to act, to persist, to succeed. Within a few years, he stood where his desire had placed him. Most men in their 30s and 40s drift because their desires are weak or undefined. They say, "I would like success," but they do not demand it. They say, "I wish for wealth," but they do not set a definite sum, nor a definite plan. Their subconscious minds receive nothing clear, and infinite intelligence responds to nothing vague. Only definiteness transforms desire into reality. Therefore, I command you, write your desire with clarity. Fix in your mind the exact goal you demand of life. Set the sum you will earn, the position you will hold, the service you will render. Determine the date by which you will accomplish it. Repeat it daily until it becomes an obsession. Only then will your subconscious obey, and only then will infinite intelligence respond. Say with me now, I will not drift. I will not grow old in fear. I demand riches of life with burning desire. I set my goal clearly. I see it already accomplished. I act with definiteness. My desire is not a passing wish. It is a consuming fire. I will hold it, feed it, and never let it die until life grants me the riches I demand. Desire transforms midlife from decline into destiny. Most men believe that their 30s and 40s are years of settling down, of shrinking dreams, of adjusting to mediocrity. But this is a lie. These are the years when your desire must blaze higher than ever. You have gained experience, you have endured trials, you have tasted failure. Now is the time to channel all of it into definite desire. Barnes's triumph proves that even in humble beginnings, desire conquers. When he stepped off the train to meet Edison, he looked like a tramp. But Edison saw in his eyes the fire of determination. That fire mattered more than money, education, or appearance. Barnes did not drift, he demanded. He did not wish, he desired. And life, obedient to its law, granted him his demand. You must become like Barnes in your 30s and 40s. You must choose a goal so definite, so burning, that it becomes your master obsession. The man who drifts says, "I would like success if it comes easily." The man of desire says, "I will have success, though I must sweat, labor, and bleed for it." Desire determines which man you will be. Desire, once definite, transforms your subconscious mind. It impresses upon it an image so vivid that it dominates thought, speech, and action. The subconscious then works day and night, drawing opportunities, allies, and resources to fulfill the image. Infinite intelligence responds, opening doors unseen, revealing paths unknown, guiding you step by step. But without desire, the subconscious has nothing to work upon. Say again with me, I demand riches of life with burning desire. I will not drift. I will not faint. I will not surrender. My 30s and 40s will not be wasted. They will be crowned with triumph, for I will demand, and I will persist. until the demand is met. Desire is my fire, and it will not be extinguished until it has burned its way into reality. History shows that the men who achieved greatness in their 30s and 40s were men of consuming desire. Carnegie in these years built his empire of steel. Rockefeller in these years mastered oil. Edison in these years persisted until light was born. None of them wished idly. They demanded with definiteness. Their desire compelled them forward when others hesitated. Do not insult life with lukewarm wishes. Life pays only for definite demands. The man who asks vaguely receives little. The man who demands boldly receives much. Your 30s and 40s are not years for timidity. They are years for bold demand, for burning desire, for definite purpose. Without this, you will become a servant of stronger men whose desires outmatched your own. I repeat, for it must burn in your mind, desire is the starting point of all achievement. Without desire, your 30s and 40s will become wasted years, years of regret, years of mediocrity. With desire, they will become the years of triumph, the years of greatness, the years when your destiny is fulfilled. The choice is yours. Wish and drift, desire and conquer, and yet desire alone is not enough. A fire without direction can consume itself. Desire must be joined with faith, the belief that it will be fulfilled. For desire without faith is a flame extinguished by doubt. But desire with faith is a fire that nothing can quench. In the next stage, I will show you how faith, the medium of all miracles, joins with desire to produce certain victory. Faith is the medium through which desire is translated into its physical equivalent. It is the bridge between thought and reality, the unseen force that carries dreams into substance. Without faith, desire remains a wish. With faith, desire becomes an obsession becomes achievement. Faith is the power by which a man in his 30s or 40s transforms his prime into triumph. Your desire may burn, but if you doubt its fulfillment, the fire will die. Faith is the fuel that keeps it alive when obstacles surround you. Faith is belief without wavering, conviction without hesitation, trust without retreat. It is not hope nor idle wishing. It is certainty, the calm knowledge that what you have demanded of life will be delivered in due season if you persist. Faith operates as a spiritual law. Just as gravity pulls objects toward Earth, faith pulls opportunities, allies, and resources toward the man who believes. Infinite intelligence responds to faith. The subconscious is activated by faith. Action is sustained by faith. Without it, even the greatest plan crumbles. With it, even the humblest desire is raised to empire. Charles M. Schwab is proof. As a young man, he placed his faith in Andrew Carnegie's vision to unite the steel industry. Others scoffed, but Schwab believed. He spoke with such confidence, acted with such assurance, that his belief ignited others. By his 40s, he was the first president of United States Steel, commanding vast fortunes. His faith and vision carried him beyond his years. Faith does not come by chance, it is cultivated. It grows through repetition of affirmations, through visualization of your goal, through association with men of faith, and through daily action. The man who feeds his subconscious with words of certainty will develop faith. The man who repeats doubts will grow unbelief. What you dwell upon, you become. What you affirm, you live. Therefore, I command you, feed your mind daily with faith. Repeat aloud, I live by faith, not by fear. I see myself already victorious. I trust the plan given to me. I walk as if it were already accomplished. I am certain, I am definite, I am unshakable. These words are not mere sounds. They are instructions to your subconscious, and through it, to infinite intelligence. Overthinking destroys faith. The man who analyzes endlessly feeds his mind with doubt. He says, what if I fail? Until his subconscious obeys, producing failure. Faith silences doubt. It answers, I will succeed. Until success becomes certain, you cannot serve both fear and faith. You must choose. Faith leads to action. Fear leads to drift. Faith builds. Fear destroys. Faith must be joined to decision. The man who believes but does not act is a dreamer. The man who acts without belief is a gambler. But the man who believes and decides is unstoppable. His faith fuels his action, and his action confirms his faith. Each step builds confidence, and confidence strengthens belief. Soon he walks as one who cannot be denied. Say it again. I live by faith, not by fear. I see myself already victorious. My 30s and 40s will not be wasted in doubt. They will be crowned with faith. I will trust my vision. I will obey my desire. I will persist through trials. My faith is stronger than fear. My faith is the law of God in action, and it will deliver all that I demand of life. History is filled with men who triumphed by faith in these decisive decades. Edison believed in light, though failure mocked him. Ford believed in the automobile, though experts scorned him. Lincoln believed in unity, though war threatened to tear it apart. Their faith was not passive. It was active, alive, certain. It carried them through storms and crowned them with greatness. You must cultivate this same faith in your prime. Do not allow fear to whisper that it is too late. Faith answers, the best years are yet to come. Do not allow doubt to suggest you are not capable. Faith answers, all power is within me. Do not allow critics to scorn your ambition. Faith answers, their disbelief cannot limit me. Only my faith defines my future. The subconscious mind responds most powerfully to repeated affirmations. Speak your faith morning and night. Picture your goal as already accomplished. Give thanks in advance, for gratitude strengthens belief. The man who believes he already possesses his desire attracts it swiftly. The man who waits for proof delays indefinitely. Faith is acting as though the promise were already fulfilled. And when faith is joined to action, no obstacle can stand. Doubters will call you reckless, but time will reveal your wisdom. The timid will call you arrogant, but time will reveal your certainty. The fearful will call you foolish, but time will reveal your triumph. Faith makes you stand when others fall, advance when others retreat, and build when others drift. Therefore, I say again, cultivate faith in these decisive decades. Let it rule your mind, command your action, and direct your destiny. Do not wait for certainty to come before you act. Act in faith, and certainty will follow. Do not wait for proof before you believe. Believe, and proof will appear. This is the law. Trust it, obey it, and it will reward you. And now, having shown you that faith is the medium through which desire becomes reality, I must lead you further. For faith without decision is powerless. You must not only believe, you must decide. You must cut off all retreat, banish all hesitation, and move forward with definiteness. In the next part, I shall show you how decision is the end of doubt and the mark of mastery in your strongest years. Indecision is drifting. Decision is mastery. In your 30s and 40s, you cannot afford delay. Youth may excuse hesitation as inexperience, and old age may excuse it as caution. But these are your strongest years. The man who fails to decide in midlife condemns himself to servitude. The man who decides swiftly and firmly commands his destiny and bends life to his will. Decision means cutting off retreat. It is the act of saying, this is my purpose, this is my path, this is my plan, and I will not turn back. Without decision, desire fades, faith weakens, and persistence dies. Every man who has risen from obscurity to greatness has possessed the courage to decide. Without it, no empire is built, no fortune is made, no dream is realized. Henry Ford was told by his engineers that his idea for an 8-cylinder engine cast in one block was impossible. He listened, then commanded, "Produce it anyway." They tried and failed. Months passed, then years. Still, he refused to change his decision. At last, persistence and ingenuity made the design possible. That single decision, made in the prime of his life, reshaped industry forever. Contrast this with the countless men who delayed until conditions were better. Their names are forgotten. Their fortunes were never made. They were defeated not by poverty nor by enemies, but by their own indecision. The man who waits for certainty discovers that certainty comes only after decision. The man who waits for proof discovers that proof comes only after commitment. I tell you plainly, life rewards firmness. The world bows to the decisive. The timid drift with public opinion, bending to the criticism of others. The decisive chart their own course and command respect. Even those who oppose them cannot ignore them. Decision produces leadership. Indecision produces servitude. Which will you choose in your 30s and 40s? Say with me now, I decide with definiteness. I obey the call of my purpose. I do not waver. I do not retreat. I do not delay. My 30s and 40s are not for drifting. They are for deciding. I have chosen my path. I will walk it with courage. I will persist upon it with faith. I will succeed because I have decided. My decision is law. Decision must be swift and firm. Men who reach decisions quickly and change them slowly, if at all, are the men who succeed. Men who decide slowly and change often are doomed to mediocrity. Every man in history who achieved greatness was known for firmness. Lincoln held to the preservation of the Union, though divided voices demanded compromise. Washington stood by independence, though defeat threatened at every turn. Critics will call you stubborn. Let them. A man of decision must be willing to stand alone until results vindicate him. Edison was ridiculed as a dreamer. Ford was mocked as reckless. Rockefeller was despised as ruthless. Yet time revealed that their decisiveness built fortunes, industries, and nations. Had they wavered, they would have been forgotten. Because they decided, they became immortal. Indecision breeds overthinking. The mind loops endlessly. Shall I? Shall I not? Am I ready? What if I fail? What if they laugh? Each circle drains energy and destroys courage. Decision ends the circle. It says, I shall. It commands the mind, the body, and the spirit into action. It closes the door to regret and opens the door to destiny. Do not deceive yourself by calling indecision prudence. Prudence evaluates quickly, then acts. Indecision evaluates endlessly, then drifts. Prudence is the tool of wisdom. Indecision is the weapon of fear. The man who calls his indecision prudence lies to himself. Life is not fooled. Results come only to the decisive. The indecisive grow old with excuses, while the decisive grow great with achievements. Decision is proof of faith. When you decide, you declare that you believe in yourself, in your desire, and in infinite intelligence. When you refuse to decide, you declare that you doubt. Faith without decision is wasted. Desire without decision is dead. Plans without decision are meaningless. Decision is the act of faith that calls upon the powers of the universe to move on your behalf. History proves that the men who acted with decision in midlife shaped the world. Napoleon Bonaparte declared that nothing was more difficult and nothing more precious than the power to decide. He acted swiftly, struck boldly, and conquered empires. Carnegie decided to master steel and built a fortune. Rockefeller decided to master oil and shaped commerce. Their greatness was born of decision. Say again with me, I decide with definiteness. I obey the call of my purpose. I act swiftly. I persist firmly. I refuse to retreat. I will not drift. My strongest years will not be wasted in hesitation. They will be crowned with action, guided by faith, sustained by persistence, and rewarded with triumph. My decision is final, and destiny obeys. Only persistence can prove your decision true. In the next stage, I will show you how persistence against adversity separates the masters from the quitters, and how your 30s and 40s must be years of endurance as well as decision. Temporary defeat is not failure, it is instruction. Every man who has risen to greatness has faced obstacles that seemed immovable, defeats that seemed final, and critics that mocked his every step. Yet he persisted. He endured when others surrendered. He rose again when others stayed down. Persistence is the proof of faith, the seal of decision, and the path to triumph in your strongest years. Edison is the clearest example. He failed more than 10,000 times in pursuit of the electric lamp. Each failure taught him a way that would not work. Each defeat brought him closer to success. A lesser man would have quit. Edison persisted, and because he persisted, the world was transformed by light. His genius was not talent alone. It was unbreakable persistence. Rockefeller, too, built his empire not in ease, but in opposition. He was criticized as ruthless, resisted by competitors, and challenged by government. Yet he persisted. He refined his methods, strengthened his organization, and endured every attack until Standard Oil dominated. He crushed his competition not with luck, but with persistence. His persistence turned obstacles into stepping stones to empire. Temporary defeat often masquerades as failure. The weak man sees it and quits. The strong man sees it and learns. The quitter blames circumstances. The persistent finds instruction. The quitter says, "It was not meant to be." The persistent says, "I will find another way." The quitter drifts into mediocrity. The persistent rises to mastery. Persistence is the dividing line between the two. In your 30s and 40s, persistence is critical. Youth may excuse quitting as immaturity. Old age may excuse it as weakness. But in these years, you cannot excuse surrender. Your family depends on you. Your future depends on you. Your destiny depends on you. If you quit now, you betray them all. If you persist now, you will build the foundation of triumph for the rest of your life. Overthinking destroys persistence. The man who circles endlessly around his defeats magnifies them. He replays every failure until his spirit weakens. But persistence silences overthinking. It says, "I rise again." It refuses to dwell on loss. It refuses to rehearse pain. It looks forward, not backward. Persistence does not question whether victory is possible. It assumes victory and continues until victory is secured. Say with me now, "I persist, I endure. I rise again until victory is mine. I do not quit. I do not drift. I do not surrender to fear, to criticism, or to defeat. I persist because I believe. I persist because I have decided. I persist because I am destined. Temporary defeat is my teacher, not my master. Persistence is my habit, and triumph is my reward." Lincoln persisted through years of defeat. He lost elections, failed in business, and suffered ridicule. Yet he endured. He persisted until destiny called him to preserve the Union. Carnegie persisted through poverty, through long labor, through resistance, until steel was his dominion. Ford persisted against experts, critics, and failure until the automobile became the servant of mankind. Their persistence crowned them with greatness. Persistence grows stronger with practice. Each time you endure, your spirit hardens. Each time you rise, your courage deepens. Each time you continue, your faith expands. Persistence is a muscle. Use it daily, and it becomes unbreakable. Avoid it, and it withers. Persist in small things, and you will be ready for great tests. Persist in great trials, and you will be crowned with mastery. The world respects persistence. It bows to endurance. Men may laugh at your failures, but they will honor your persistence when you rise again. Critics may mock your defeats, but they will fall silent when persistence makes you victorious. Even enemies are forced to admire the man who will not quit. Persistence commands respect, even from those who despise your ambition. Your 30s and 40s will test you. You will face setbacks, losses, betrayals, and delays. Do not expect ease, expect adversity, but do not fear it. Adversity is the proving ground of persistence. Without it, no man rises. With it, every man is tested. Those who quit perish in mediocrity. Those who persist rise to mastery. Persistence is the fire in which greatness is forged. Say again with me, I persist, I endure, I rise again until victory is mine. I will not be broken. I will not be silenced. I will not be stopped. Defeat is temporary. Delay is instruction. Criticism is fuel. My persistence is eternal. My destiny is certain. I am unbreakable because I persist. I am unstoppable because I endure. Victory is mine because I will not quit. Every decision will be tested. Every plan will be challenged. Every desire will be opposed. This is the law of life. But the test is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to strengthen you. The opposition is not proof of failure. It is proof of progress. If you face no resistance, you are drifting. If you face great resistance, you are moving toward destiny. Persist until the opposition yields. Therefore, I command you, build persistence in your 30s and 40s. Make it your habit, your nature, your law. Persist in every worthy goal. Endure every trial. Rise from every fall. The man who persists cannot be defeated permanently. The man who quits cannot be saved. Persistence is destiny in motion. It is faith clothed in endurance. It is the certain road to triumph. Persistence alone is not blind endurance. It must be guided by vision. And vision is the work of imagination, the sacred workshop where desire and faith are shaped into form. In the next stage, I will show you how imagination separates the masters from the drifters in midlife. Persistence gives you the strength to endure, but strength without direction is wasted. What drives strength into creation is imagination. Imagination is the workshop of the mind, the place where desire and faith are given form. It is where you build pictures of the life you demand before they exist in substance. Without imagination, persistence is blind. With imagination, it is guided. In youth, imagination is often careless. Men dream wildly without discipline. In old age, imagination often fades. But in your 30s and 40s, imagination must be deliberate. These are the years when you have gathered knowledge, experience, and resources. Imagination takes those materials and shapes them into new combinations, new ventures, new destinies. It is the bridge from experience to greatness. There are two kinds of imagination. Synthetic imagination rearranges old concepts into new plans. Creative imagination receives new ideas directly from infinite intelligence. Both are vital, but in midlife, creative imagination is your greatest ally. It brings flashes of insight, visions of opportunity, and sudden solutions to persistent problems. The man who listens to this voice rises above the crowd. Guglielmo Marconi dreamed of sending messages through the ether without wires. Learned men laughed at him. Some even had him examined for insanity. But his imagination was not folly. It was revelation. He persisted until the radio became reality, shrinking the world. Had he listened to critics, he would have drifted. Instead, his imagination carried him into history. The Wright brothers, simple bicycle mechanics, dreamed of flight. The world mocked. Experts declared it impossible. Yet their imagination saw man soaring like a bird. They trusted the picture in their minds more than the doubts of professors. They persisted until they rose above Kitty Hawk, and the age of flight began. Imagination turned ridicule into triumph. In your 30s and 40s, imagination is not a luxury. It is survival. If you cling to the past, repeating what you have always done, you will be surpassed. But if you imagine new ways to use your experience, new methods to serve, new systems to build, you will rise while others decline. Imagination is reinvention. It is the key to crushing your competition in midlife. Overthinking kills imagination. The man who analyzes endlessly cannot hear the whisper of infinite intelligence. His mind is cluttered with doubt, criticism, and hesitation. Imagination requires silence, faith, and openness. When you still the voice of fear, imagination speaks. When you trust the picture you see, the path begins to unfold. Overthinking suffocates. Imagination breathes. Say with me now, I see in my imagination the reality I will create. I trust the visions placed within me. I act upon them with faith. I do not dismiss them as folly. I do not bury them under fear. My imagination is God's workshop. I receive His guidance. I shape it into plans. I act until it becomes substance. What I imagine with faith, I will achieve with persistence. Imagination directs persistence into fruitful channels. It shows where to apply your energy. It provides new strategies when old ones fail. It opens doors where none appear. It reveals opportunities hidden from the drifting mind. The persistent man without imagination is like a plow without seed. The persistent man with imagination is like a farmer whose field overflows with harvest. Barnes imagined himself as Edison's partner before it was true. That picture sustained him through menial work until opportunity appeared. Carnegie imagined an empire of steel when he was still a poor boy. That picture directed his persistence until it was substance. Rockefeller imagined a world supplied with oil before he controlled a single well. That picture became empire. Imagination gave birth to destiny. Your imagination must be definite. Vague pictures produce vague results. Picture clearly the life you demand, the wealth, the service, the impact. Hold it daily in your mind. Speak it aloud. Write it on paper. Act as though it were already true. The clearer the image, the stronger the faith. The stronger the faith, the swifter the result. Infinite intelligence responds to definiteness. Imagination is also the root of innovation. Men in their 30s and 40s who reinvent themselves crush their competition. They refuse to be prisoners of routine. They look at the same facts as others but see new possibilities. Ford imagined not merely automobiles but automobiles for the masses. Edison imagined not just inventions but entire industries. Such imagination, joined with persistence, shaped civilization. Do not scorn your imagination as childish. Every monument of man began as imagination. The pyramids, the steam engine, the skyscraper, the telephone, the airplane, all were once invisible pictures in someone's mind. The drifters laughed at them. The faithful built them. The drifters are forgotten. The faithful are remembered. Imagination separates the remembered from the forgotten. Say again with me, I see in my imagination the reality I will create. I trust it. I shape it. I act upon it. My 30s and 40s are not years of decline, but of creation. I will not cling to the past. I will imagine a greater future. I will persist until my vision becomes fact. My imagination is sacred. I honor it, and through it I receive my destiny. Do not wait for others to validate your imagination. They will call you foolish, reckless, or insane. They called Marconi insane. They mocked the Wright brothers. They ridiculed Edison and Ford. But time revealed the wisdom of imagination. Trust the picture given to you. Do not hand it to critics. Protect it until it is strong enough to speak for itself in results. Imagination without planning is fantasy. To transform vision into reality, you must crystallize it into organized plans. Imagination provides the picture. Planning provides the path. Imagination gives direction. Planning gives structure. One without the other is incomplete. The picture must be built into definite steps, executed with faith, and pursued with persistence until it becomes reality. This is the task of your strongest years, to combine desire, faith, decision, persistence, and imagination into plans so definite that nothing can stop you. You must gather allies, write your steps, and direct your energy with precision. Imagination lights the way, but planning builds the road. Those who imagine and plan will rise. Those who drift will perish. Imagination provides vision, but without organized planning, vision dissolves into dream. The man who lives by pictures alone becomes a dreamer, while the man who shapes those pictures into definite steps becomes a master. In your 30s and 40s, organized planning is indispensable. These are the years when strength must be guided by structure, when purpose must be crystallized into order. God is a God of order. The planets keep their paths, the seasons their rhythm, the tides their appointed times. Success, too, obeys order. Plans are the law of achievement. Fortune does not reward vague wishes. It rewards definite steps executed with persistence. If you will not plan, you will drift. If you plan without definiteness, you will stumble. But if you plan with precision, you will rise. Andrew Carnegie built his empire by organized planning. He gathered around him men of greater knowledge than his own. This was his mastermind group. Each man contributed ideas, strategies, and counsel. Carnegie directed their efforts toward one definite purpose. Together, they shaped plans so complete that steel became his dominion. His empire was not chance. It was organized power in motion. Henry Ford multiplied his success through planning. He did not simply build automobiles. He created systems of production. He studied every detail of assembly until efficiency was perfected. This organization allowed him to reduce costs, multiply output, and place cars in the hands of the masses. Without organized planning, his vision of automobiles for all would have perished. With it, he triumphed. The mastermind principle is the highest form of organized planning. It is the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. 2 minds in harmony generate power far beyond one. 10 minds united in faith create force no competition can withstand. Harmony multiplies power. Discord destroys it. Therefore, I command you, build your mastermind. Choose men and women of faith, knowledge, and courage. Meet with them regularly. Share your purpose. Shape your plans together. Do not tolerate envy, doubt, or discord. Harmony is essential. Where harmony exists, infinite intelligence adds its voice. Where discord reigns, even the strongest plan collapses. Protect harmony as sacred law. Overthinking kills planning. The man who analyzes endlessly never begins. He adjusts and revises without action. His plans grow thicker on paper, but thinner in reality. But the decisive man writes his plan clearly, begins at once, and adjusts as he proceeds. Life rewards action, not hesitation. A weak plan executed boldly is stronger than a perfect plan never begun. Write your plan with definiteness. State clearly what you will achieve, when you will achieve it, and what you will give in return. Outline the steps, assign dates, measure progress, revise as needed, but never abandon. Keep the plan before your eyes daily. Speak it aloud. Impress it upon your subconscious until it becomes law. Let every action flow from it. This is organized planning. Say with me now, I plan with definiteness. I act in harmony with God's order. I write my purpose clearly. I surround myself with allies of faith. I guard my plans from critics. I act without delay. I persist until success is secured. My plan is my map, my guide, my law. With it I command destiny. Without it I drift. With it I rise to mastery. History proves that plans tested by defeat are stronger than those untested. Edison revised his designs thousands of times before triumph. Rockefeller altered his strategies through setbacks until oil was mastered. Lincoln adjusted his leadership through war until victory was won. Each revised, refined, and persisted. Defeat was not the end of their plans. It was instruction to improve them. Guard your plans from critics. Most men will scoff. They will infect your mind with fear. Protect your vision until results speak. Share only with your mastermind. Do not give doubters the chance to sow weeds in your soil. Plans grow best in faith. Critics water them with poison. Shield your plans until they stand tall enough to resist. Planning requires discipline. You must manage your time, direct your resources, and concentrate your attention. Drifters scatter effort across many distractions. Masters focus all energy upon definite plans. Concentration multiplies power. Diffusion weakens it. 1 arrow aimed with precision pierces the target. 100 arrows scattered fall harmless. Let your plan focus your every effort. Your 30s and 40s demand planning because your responsibilities are greater. You may have family to support, enterprises to lead, futures to secure. Without plans, you betray them all. With plans, you secure their future and your own. These are not years for careless drifting. They are years for disciplined planning, for building systems that will endure beyond your strength. Say again with me, I plan with definiteness. I act in harmony with God's order. My 30s and 40s will not be wasted in disorder. They will be crowned with structure, discipline, and victory. I gather allies. I direct resources. I focus attention. I persist in action. I refine when needed. I persist until destiny is fulfilled. My plan is law, and destiny obeys law. Planning is not the end. It is preparation for execution. Your subconscious must be trained to accept your plan as reality, to connect it to infinite intelligence, and to sustain it through faith. Without this inner training, your plans will collapse under doubt. With it, they will be strengthened by unseen power. The next stage is to master the subconscious, for it is the gateway to infinite intelligence and the final seal of destiny. The subconscious mind is the connecting link between your conscious thought and infinite intelligence. It is the unseen bridge that translates desire into reality. It works ceaselessly day and night, shaping your dominant thoughts into action and results. It accepts what you impress upon it, whether faith or fear. It does not argue. It does not judge. It obeys. If you fill your subconscious with fear, doubt, and hesitation, it will multiply them and return defeat. If you feed it faith, definiteness, and persistence, it will multiply them and return triumph. This is why you must guard your thoughts. Each word repeated, each image held, each affirmation spoken is a seed. The subconscious will water it and grow it. What seed are you planting daily? Your 30s and 40s are decisive because by now your subconscious has been trained by years of habit. If those habits were negative, you must retrain it. If those habits were positive, you must strengthen them. The way is repetition. You must repeat affirmations of faith, pictures of victory, and visions of destiny until your subconscious accepts them as law and acts upon them. Say with me now, I feed my mind only faith. I trust God's plan fully. I demand greatness in my 30s and 40s. My subconscious obeys me. It multiplies my faith, not my fear. It connects me to infinite intelligence. It brings me allies, opportunities, and strength. I guard it daily. I command it with certainty. I live by faith and act in definiteness. I proved this truth in my own home. My son was born without ears. Doctors declared he would never hear, never speak. I refused to accept it. I impressed upon my mind and his the belief that he would hear. Daily, I repeated this conviction until it became law in my subconscious. Years later, through a device, he heard, and his life was transformed. Faith impressed upon the subconscious created a miracle. Infinite intelligence responds only through faith. Fear blocks the channel. Doubt clogs it. Overthinking shuts it. But faith opens it wide. When you believe with definiteness, infinite intelligence whispers ideas, guides decisions, and reveals opportunities. Those flashes of inspiration, those sudden certainties, are not accidents. They are the voice of infinite intelligence speaking through the subconscious. Trust those impressions. Do not dismiss them as coincidence. They are divine guidance. When Lincoln spoke of being led by Providence, he was describing this law. When Edison described flashes of inspiration, he was describing it. When Carnegie envisioned steel, when Rockefeller envisioned oil, when Ford envisioned automobiles, they were listening to infinite intelligence through the subconscious mind. Overthinking is the great enemy because it fills the subconscious with contradiction. One day you affirm faith, the next you rehearse fear. 1 hour you picture triumph, the next you imagine failure. The subconscious, given conflicting commands, produces confusion, but when your command is clear, definite, and repeated daily, it obeys with power. Definite faith produces definite results. This is why I command you to listen to these words not once, but again and again. The first hearing may stir you, but the second will reveal what you missed. The third will deepen your conviction. The 10th will impress it upon your subconscious until it becomes part of you. Each return reveals a truth you did not see before, not because it was absent, but because you were not yet ready. Think of a book you once read. At first it seemed simple. Years later, reading it again, you discovered truths that felt new. Yet the words had not changed. You had changed. So it will be with this philosophy. Each time you listen again, you will see deeper. Each time you repeat, you will discover more in these words and more in yourself. Repetition is the path to mastery. Say again with me, I feed my mind only faith. I trust God's plan fully. I demand greatness in my 30s and 40s. My subconscious obeys me. I do not drift. I do not fear. I do not surrender. My subconscious is my ally. Infinite intelligence is my guide. My destiny is certain. My years of strength will not be wasted. They will be crowned with triumph. Your subconscious works even while you sleep. Fill it with faith before you close your eyes. Speak your affirmations. Picture your goals as already fulfilled. Express gratitude. Then sleep, knowing your subconscious is working through the night, connected to infinite intelligence, shaping your reality. What you impress before sleep will appear in opportunities when you wake. History proves this law. Edison trusted inspiration. Ford trusted his vision. Lincoln trusted providence. Rockefeller trusted his definiteness. Carnegie trusted his alliances. None of them surrendered to fear. All of them repeated their faith until their subconscious acted without doubt. This is why they crushed their competition in midlife. They trained their subconscious to obey faith, not fear. Your strongest years will pass swiftly. You cannot drift through them. You must impress definiteness, faith, and desire upon your subconscious until it drives you forward without hesitation. This is mastery. When your subconscious, once trained, compels you to act as though victory were inevitable. When that state is reached, defeat cannot last, obstacles cannot stand, and destiny cannot be denied. Therefore, I urge you once more, do not hear these words once and move on. Return again and again. Each listening will carve deeper channels of faith into your subconscious. Each repetition will silence fear more completely. Each return will strengthen your definiteness. Listen daily until the words live in you, until they are no longer instruction but identity. In your 30s and 40s, you must not drift. You must not fear. You must not surrender to indecision. You must desire with burning fire, believe with unshakable faith, decide with definiteness, persist through adversity, imagine boldly, plan with order, and train your subconscious to obey faith. This is the path to mastery. This is the way to crush your competition in midlife. Now I leave you with this command. Feed your subconscious with faith. Repeat these truths daily. Return to them often. Trust God's plan fully. Act with definiteness and persist until triumph is yours. Do not overthink. Do not drift. Do not wait. Master your subconscious. Link to infinite intelligence and seize your destiny. And when doubt whispers, return and listen again until faith becomes your nature and victory becomes your life.